Okay, here we go. All right, so I have this picture that I pulled from the internet. And I want to do some things to it. The first thing I want to show you are the image adjustments. So if you are a photographer and you're taking a photo class and you're using Photoshop to edit your photos, remember that Photoshop was originally created for photographers. And it has all of the tools. It's a very powerful machine for altering pixels, right? Pixels. Photoshop is pixel-based program. One square is a pixel, right? And it's a pixel manipulator. You can manipulate and change pixels as much as you want. So let's go over here to image. This image drop-down menu is full of all kinds of goodies or tricks that you can do to alter these pixels. And you just have to experiment. I'm not going to sit here and go through all of them. Image mode, you just kind of have to look at it. All right, forget about all that stuff. Image adjustments. Well, before I even get to the adjustments, look, auto tone, auto contrast. Oftentimes, I'll just click on it. And if I don't, that didn't do anything, no problem. If I don't like it, I'll just undo it, Control Z. You can change your image size, you can crop, you can rotate, trim, duplicate, all this other stuff that's kind of useless for me for this demonstration. I guess adjustments is really what I want to show you. So go to adjustments, and there you have a huge drop down. Brightness and contrast. You can make it bright, you can make it dull. Contrast, you can reduce the contrast, you can increase the contrast. You get the idea. I kind of like that. Huh. Sometimes I like to make a copy of my layer before I mess around with it, so I'm just going to hit Control J. That way I can do all my experimenting on a copy. Image adjustments. How about levels? Levels. I use this a lot. Play with the sliders. This is going to give you a lot more control on altering the lighting of a photograph. I'm moving this top middle slider. That's the one I mess around with the most, probably. Is this top middle one. Sometimes I'll pull this one. Sometimes I'll pull this one. It just depends. It's the bottom ones I don't use too much. But the top ones are really useful. I'm going to hit cancel. And I'm going to go image adjustments, levels. And I'm going to mess with that just a little bit more because I actually like that. There. Look at the difference. Before, after. It actually brought the shadows out, brightened it up a little bit, made it a better photograph, I think. What else can we do? Image, adjustments, curves. Whoa, I don't know much about curves. There's a science to curves. Photographers know all about how to play with curves. I'll be honest with you, I just don't know much about it. Image, adjustments, exposure, presets. I don't know what this is, guys. These are for professional photographers. To me, it's a lot like levels. Just, again, depends on what you're going for. If you want to play around with it, you could just keep making copies of layers. I'll title this one Levels. I'll title this one Exposure. That way I know what I did. I should have made this an assignment, exposure. I'll title this one Original. Control J is copy. Maybe I should be copying the bottom one and moving it to the top. There. No, I don't like that. Now I'm wasting your time. All right, image adjustments. Vibrance. I think you guys know what vibrance means. Hey, let's make it more vibrant. Ooh, even better. Saturation. You would know that, I think, from playing around with the apps, the editing options for your camera on your phone. Saturation just means it's super saturated, super bright. Desaturated all the way to the left, it's just going to turn it black and white. It just dulls out all the color. So you guys can mess with that. If you don't like it, just type 0. it'll take it back to the middle. Highlight this, type 0. That takes it back to the middle. Image adjustment, so that's vibrance. Hue, saturation. Hue is another word for color. That's going to play around with all these colors. The hue slide bar. Oh, that's kind of cool. Or type 0, and it just goes back to saturation again. You already know what that is. Lightness and darkness, you can figure that out. 0. Cancel. Image adjustments. Black and white. Alt-Shift-Control-B. The nice thing about this option, that's better than just the hue saturation desaturate option, is it gives you presets where you can mess around with the red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, and magenta. And the science of all that, I really don't know. But I just know it does cool stuff when you mess around with it. Like, look when I take the yellows all the way over here, what it does. Lots of options. Now you can see why this was a program made for photographers. Image adjustments. Moving on. Channel mixer, color lookup, invert. Goodness, I don't like that. Image adjustments. Posterize. That's just a filter. I don't know why they have that. Poster filter is just, what does that do? I don't even know what that did. I'll Google it sometime. Anything you don't understand? YouTube. Threshold, gradient map. Gradient map, what is, whoa. It's putting a gradient over it. Oh, and I can put in a gradient? Okay. Okay. Dither. Reverse. Okay, so that's what a gradient map is. Cool. Gosh, you can put your own grade. Oh, interesting. Or just cancel. Image adjustments. Selective color. I think this one's actually pretty cool. What do? You select the color by clicking here. And then it moves all colors like that? No, I don't know. I'd have to watch a tutorial on that. I just know it does cool stuff. Shadows and highlights, HDR toning. No, I don't want to flatten the document. Nope. Image adjustments. Desaturate, that just makes it black and white again without the options. Equalize. All right, so there's cool stuff in adjustments, stuff that you would think a photographer might use. So if you're not satisfied with the way a picture looks from the internet and you want to make some adjustments to it, just consider that I took this, which is a little bit underexposed, if you ask me, and I made it into that, and then I improved it to, that looks the same. I guess I just did that to it. One last cool thing is this one, image adjustments. It's called Photo Filter. Sometimes students will put like a pinkish hue over their entire project when they're finished. Like what they'll do is they'll flatten all their layers, and like, okay, who is the student that, I know she did it. I want to find a really good example. I'm pretty sure this one. No, not that one. Yeah, you see how there's kind of a blue tinge to all of these cubes? So what they did is they finished their project and then they made a flat copy of all their layers, so it's all on one layer. If you want to know how to do that, just see me. I can show you. But that would be under Image Adjustments, Photo Filter. What you do is you choose a color here. Let's say you want blue. Press OK, and then you increase the density. And it'll kind of put a blue tinge on it. There's the opposite. There's 100%. If I wanted to do any color, I could do, red. So this would be like in the real world, those old school cameras that you see maybe your parents or grandparent might have. They used to have lens covers you would put over the lens. It would actually, they're called filters, and they would be colorful. Like you put pink, blue, yellow. Those are photo filters. Well, now you can do it, of course, in Photoshop. So, and if you want just a little bit of effect, you can play with the density and just reduce it. So that's really helpful. Another example over here would be, I know this one's got kind of a purpley photo filter on it, purple-ish. Maybe not. Okay. Anyway, I think you get the point with that. The last thing I want to go over are, take this down, doubling up on filters. So check this out. All right. So I'm going to start on this first layer. Let's say you want to use a filter. Filter. I don't think I would try liquefy. Liquefy might crash your computer because these computers can't handle the RAM that it takes to do liquefy. I know my computer can because it has a bigger graphics card. Liquefy is really fun. You can try it, but I'm pretty sure it'll just crash out. Filter. And again, the filters are just, they're there for you to experiment with. There's so many, there's no way I could get through all these. There's filter gallery, and inside the gallery there are tons more. There are 20, like almost 20 artistic filters. Open up the brush stroke filters, distort, ocean, ripple, glass, and then you can play around with the level of distortion. That can be really cool if you, just depends on what kind of an effect you want. If you want the appearance of somebody looking through glass, you could select that particular area, put the filter on it. Or if you just say, Mr. Cook, I want to do this specific effect. Can you show me what filter I would use? I'd be more than glad to show you. Sketch filters. Distort. Throw brush strokes. Artistic filters. Plastic wrap. Cutout gives it kind of a cartoony look. This is a popular one. And you play around with the levels. This is a very popular filter, especially for the project that you're going to be doing, the comic book cover design. I'll be giving demonstrations on how you can turn yourself into, give yourself a comic book like look to it using this filter. Film grain, that's really cool too. It gives it kind of an old school look. Sketch, stylize, texture, stained glass. Whoa. Okay, I'll cancel those. I want to show you the oil paint. Filter, blur. I'll show you something. So let's say you want it to blur out. There's lots of different blurs. Just experiment. There's Gaussian blur. If you have something in the background that you don't want to stand out too much, you could put one of these blurs on it. It gives it the appearance that it's in the background. I know she used the Gaussian blur for her where is it? For all of this, the lighthouse, the boat, all this stuff in the background is blurred out. That gives it the illusion that it's far away in the distance. So that can be very helpful. So there's blur filters, filter, distort, noise, pixelate, render. Oh, render is really cool. Look at lens, lighting effects. Holy cow. Lighting effects are really cool. Again, it's just way too hard to go through all these. And this is just the default. Like go up here, there's all of these different lighting effects. 5 lights down, flashlight, floodlight. There's too many to sit here and show you. I'm going to hit cancel. Stylize. Where is the oil paint? Oil paint. There it is. Oil paint is so fun. So it is actually going to, I'm going to hit preview there. It'll actually, it looks somewhat fake. You can change the angle of your brushes. You can see that it sort of gives it an oil brush stroke look. The last thing I want to show you is you can combine. So if I have an oil paint filter here, what if I wanted to do a cutout filter here? Go back to the filter gallery. Let's say I want to do this cutout. Press OK. Now what I can do, I have two copies. One's oil paint, one's cutout. Why don't I use the blending modes right here? I could blend a filter with a filter, and now you're going to get the effect of two filters. So if I've lost you already because you're tired of hearing me talk, try to focus in on this one. This one's pretty cool. So what I'm doing is I'm blending two different filter effects. Some cutout and some oil paint. You also get the advantage of blending modes. So the most important thing for you to remember from this demonstration is that you don't have to accept the way something looks off the internet. If you're using a picture from the internet, there's so many things you can do in Photoshop to help you build a creative background. Alrighty.